When you think of the word IT, information technology, you probably are thinking of a really nice, cozy tech job. And while you're seeing the glamorous side of the tech side, I'm going to be telling you the 5 reasons why maybe it's not for you, unless you're prepared, of course. Reason number one, whenever you're applying to the IT industry and you're in a role, whether that's a help desk role or maybe you're in the networking field, whatever field you're in the IT industry, you'll begin to realize that it's always changing. Every day you're going to be learning something new. And what you knew 5 years ago is not going to be the same today. Same thing that's going to be applied in the future. Whatever you learn right now is not going to be the same 5 years in the future. So every single day, I want you to keep an open mind when it comes to learning. You'll always have to be learning something new, and that's something that I want you to be aware of. So if you're somebody who wants to stay comfortable in their environment and you don't really want it to change, maybe the IT industry might not be for you. For example, if you have a family and of course you want your work-life balance, and maybe after work all you want to do is spend time with your family or friends, and you don't want to learn something new because maybe you might be reading an article, maybe you might be practicing something in a lab. That's going to be something that you'll have to keep in mind of if you're trying to pursue the IT industry. I'm not saying that it's impossible for you to balance everything out together, but it's something to keep in mind. Reason number two, high stress and a lot of pressure. When you're working in the IT industry, you're going to face a lot of problems. And all those problems are troubleshooting because most of the time the network might be completely fine, but then all of a sudden it might break and you have to figure out why. It's either you or your team that's going to figure out the why behind it. So there's always a lot of stress, a lot of pressure because a lot of eyeballs are looking at you trying to figure out why is something broken when it's been working for the past year, for the past week, and all of a sudden it's breaking. And so you have all of that stress, all of that pressure on you. But if you're somebody who likes the pressure, then absolutely go for it. But if you're somebody who might not be able to withstand that pressure because there's a lot of expectations, you're going to be staying up really late at night, or maybe you'll just be continuing on the issue day in, day out, maybe this is not for you. But not only that, but there are some IT roles out there where you might be on call. So if you're enjoying a nice weekend and for some reason something breaks within the company and you happen to be on call, you're going to have to drop whatever it is that you're doing and start working to help with the issue. So again, all that high stress, all that high pressure, even though the paycheck is good, even though some jobs might let you work from home or maybe have a hybrid role, but at the same time, having that on call, having to work on a weekend might be extremely stressful and it might not be able to coexist with your work-life balance. And that leads me to reason number three, work-life balance. Sometimes you might be working past your working hours to the point where you're not going to have that work-life balance all the time. So for example, you might have a 9 to 6 shift, but at the same time, if anything were to happen, if you have meetings or anything like that, similar to many other jobs out there, you're going to have to stay overtime and start working on the issue. Now, in my previous point, I also mentioned that you might be on call, right? Anytime there's an issue with the company, most likely a networking issue, you're going to be the person that's getting called up and you're going to have to help and troubleshoot the issue until that issue has been solved. So if you're somebody who has a very strict work-life balance where once it's 6 o'clock, once it's the end of my shift, and you want to spend time with your family and friends, that's something to keep in mind of. Reason number four, it's extremely competitive in the IT industry. You're going to be competing with a lot of people who may or may not have a lot more experience than you. Maybe they might have more projects than you. It's extremely competitive to the point where you have to beat them in something. So for example, either you might one-up them on certifications, experience, or even projects. You need to find what you're good at, find a niche, find a product, or whatever it is on your resume. Maybe it's a soft skill. Maybe you're really good at talking to people. Maybe you can do public speaking or anything similar to that where you're able to explain a very complex IT concept and explain it to people who have not worked with technology before. These are all different skills, experiences that you can use and leverage in order to be competitive in the industry. If you think that, oh, I just have a bachelor's degree and I can get in, well, unfortunately, that might not be the case for applying to any kind of IT role. Of course, there are roles where it's a starter kit for you, like the IT help desk job. That was literally my first IT role that I've ever gotten. And that was what allowed me to move on to this cloud engineering role because of that help desk role, because I got to get real world experiences, understand how networking works in the real world, understand VLANs, and just mess around with networking, talking to people, working on tickets. I've learned all these different kind of skill sets, and that was my competitive edge to go towards AWS and the cloud industry. So for you, if you're somebody who doesn't want to compete, if you're somebody who wants to just say, you know what, I have a bachelor degree, I should get this job, well, the IT industry might not be for you. And like I said in my first point, you have to continually learn. That's what will give you the edge when it comes to applying to different kind of jobs. And for the very last point, the IT industry is not as glamorous as you think it is. So for example, you might see people from online or your friends who are in the tech industry where they're able to work from home, but not all jobs are work from home. For example, my first IT help desk job was all on site. So I'd have to drive 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on the traffic, to get to the office and then start my 9 to 5 shift. And so if this is something where you're expecting it's going to be easy, it's going to be working from home, not only that, but the tasks, the roles, the responsibilities are always different. If you have an IT help desk role, most of the time you're going to be working on tickets. You're going to be troubleshooting problems, resetting passwords, or maybe there's a simple networking issue where somebody just unplugged a switch or a cable, and it's your job to find out why and fix it. Other jobs are really complex. Maybe you have to update routers or switches and you have to have some sort of routine or develop some sort of program to do it automatically for you. Some IT jobs are very robotic. It just seems the same, and some people really love that. Some people really hate it. For me at AWS, it's extremely different. Every single day, I'm working with different kind of customers, working on different kind of issues, and that's what allows it to be unique and interesting for myself. Maybe for you, if you don't like that and you just want it to stay the same, there are some roles that are able to do that, and there are other roles where it's extremely unique. It really depends. But just know that it's not always pretty as you might think it is. There's always going to be problems. There's going to be a lot of stress. Your work-life balance might be affected. And there's all sorts of different factors that apply into the IT industry. But those are the 5 reasons why you should not join the IT industry. If you stayed this far, congratulations. That tells me that you're probably interested in applying to the IT industry, so go for it. My always #1 recommendation, if you have 0 experience, is to get an IT help desk role. Use that as a stepping stone for your next career. Please like, comment, and subscribe because it's super helpful to me. And with that being said, watch all my other videos because there's a lot of juicy information that you might not know about the IT industry and how I got there in the first place. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.